You know what we haven't done in a while around here? A good old-fashioned tier list. Are those even still popular anymore? I mean, internet trends have the lifespans of mayflies, but who cares if it's a dead trend? I'll just get my necromancer robes on and summon its corpse to fulfill your needs for a scrumptious piece of content on this lovely little Monday. See, I love you little squids so much that I'm bending the laws of nature to give you what you desire, and all it'll cost is one subscribe. Seriously, subscribe. Turbo Busa, no forget. Anyways, today we're taking a look at helmet brands and how they stack up to their relative competition, and if you think this whole video is just a clever excuse to dunk on Rock publicly again, then you'd be right. But it's also about giving you a glance summary of the best helmets you can spend money on. In case this is your first time watching a tier list, this is how it goes. We're going to start our way up from the bottom with F tier, which are lids that should have about the same safety and comfort as an actual bucket, all the way up to S tier, which is the lid you should be striving towards. Now with this list, it's important to point out that once we get into C tier, any helmet brand is going to be quote unquote safe. The only things separating them from higher tiers are going to be things like build quality, price, comfort, and features. Now we've got 17 brands to cover today, so let's quit goofing around and dive right in with the F tier. F tier helmets are the helmets that aren't obviously unsafe, but rather they're insidious and hide behind clever marketing and stickers to avoid scrutiny. They might look safe, but in reality, they have disturbingly little to back up any claims they might make. And if you think I'm about to roast Rock again, you're right on the money. Look, you know I have beef with Rock. First of all, their CEO admitted to not testing the helmets because it's expensive and riders all over the world test their helmets for them. To which I say, are you going to volunteer as a crash test dummy? Secondly, they had the gall to go after Shoei, saying that they don't use quality materials, which is just idiotic. But Yammie, they have a live saved section on their website, yes, and it's covered in gore porn images of mangled appendages and road rash, and a few helmets that look like they've fallen off the tail section of a bike. One review even said that he woke up in the hospital all dizzy and couldn't see straight or remember anything, which is basically a textbook definition of a severe concussion. Rock is what you get when the kid who did nothing but draw on those weird diamond-looking S's in his notebook and scribble grew up and started doodling on some cheap helmets and then charged $600 a pop for them. And no, them showing up in the new Venom movie doesn't mean that they're any good either. It just means that they know how to sell to boneheads. And also look for the names of their jackets. It's the most edgelordy, cringe-inducing stuff. The 50 cal sniper, the Predator, cookies and cream, the Rock Hard. I made up one of those and you can guess which one. Moving on to the D tier, these are the helmets you would buy if you'd like to die. They're obviously unsafe, often untested, have no features, and you should not be wearing one on a bicycle, let alone a motorcycle. Let's start us off today of the disturbingly and frighteningly cheap Amazon helmets. Let me read you the reviews on one ILM bucket selling for a very cheap $79.99. The helmet was perfect until it wasn't, and then I almost died. 1 star. Pieces fall off and it fogs, but great value nonetheless. 5 stars. Not the best, but it'll do. 3 stars. Look, I get it, helmets are expensive, but you've only got the one brain, so I'd spend exactly as much money as you think your noodle is worth. Personally, I'm not going to take a risk on a helmet with a KD spread between 1 and 5 stars. Thanks. In the frighteningly cheap Amazon helmets group, I'm going to include basically all gimmicky cosplay helmets like your Predator helmets, Boba Fett helmets, Master Chief helmets, and more. You think it might be cool rolling around looking like the Predator on your Busa until you realize that A, you can't see, B, the Predator dreads slap you on the back like a cat of 9 tails, and C, it's about as safe as wearing a sticker on your forehead that says helmet with the second E replaced with a U. Now we've got C tier, and there's a lot of brands in this segment and we're going to move through them pretty quick. First off, you got Bell. Now Bell makes some solid racing helmets and some good MX helmets, and they're one of the few brands offering MIPS under $300, which is nice. But the problem with Bell helmets is that they rely more on brand recognition. Every one of their helmets is a DOT sticker, but when it comes to entry-level helmets, say around $150 to $200, you're not likely to find ECE stickers on many of them. If you want a Bell, look to spend over $200 to get that ECE badge. Up next is the Sedici, the Revzilla J&P Cycle Gear House brand. Once again, they make some solid helmets and some less than solid ones. If you're looking to buy a Sedici, I highly recommend you go to a store and hold them in your hands, try it on, test all the little features like a drop-down visor, vents, and all that stuff to see how it holds up. If it feels cheap and chintzy, put it back on the shelf. Joining the rest of the C tier are Built helmets, the brand for dads on Goldwins and Japanese sport touring motorcycles. Chances are if you see some old guy wearing a neon vest on a motorcycle with a modular helmet on, it's probably a Built. Why? Well, because they're cheap and you can get one with built-in Bluetooth speakers, and dads are cheap bastards. Another solid C tier helmet is the brand LS2. They're a Chinese helmet brand, but they've got footprints around the world, including Chicago, trying to capture an American audience, which means they sell a lot of 1/2 and 3/4 helmets. They got a lot lot of support from MX riders, but as far as street lids, very few of them have anything other than a DOT sticker. For the money, there are better choices out there. Last up, I'm going to include Simpson in the C tier. They're like Ruroc, but safe. You've got helmets running the gamut from just DOT to DOT and Snell to DOT and ECE branded lids, so you have to choose carefully. And for what they're worth, they're a little overpriced in my opinion. However, if you're one of those people who likes a helmet with aggressive looks and crazy lines, then Simpson is the safe choice over Ruroc. Just don't expect them to be earth-shattering or anything. Now, speaking of helmet-based entertainment systems, have you heard the good word about Cardo? Regardless of what helmet you've got, you owe it to yourself to get a comm systems for your ride. Not only can you listen to music and chat with your buddies, but you can hang up on those annoying spam calls about your car's extended warranty while you're out on the road. We've been using Cardo communicators on our helmets for years now, and they are the best in the business. They've got a long battery life, high-quality JBL speakers, and an app that makes pairing your Cardo up super easy. If you're looking to talk with a bunch of your fellow riders, you'll want the Pack Talk line with the DMC connection, which means that if one person drops, you don't lose the whole crew, and when they get back in range, it automatically repairs. But if you're looking to talk to a passenger, or maybe you just want to listen to music, then any of the free comm systems will work for you, and you save some money at the same time. Cardo has been a long-time partner of the channel, so go and show them some love by clicking the link down below and checking out their entire line of comm systems, and you'll be helping the channel out at the same time. Win-win. Now for the B tier. These are brands that are either overpriced but solid, or solid and no one knows about, so word of mouth hasn't gotten around yet, and I couldn't think of a better place to start this tier off than with Schuberth helmets. Schuberth is the choice of the BMW GS riders around the world for their strict adherence to the ADV dad law of blinding neon. Here's a fact you might not know. The sun isn't actually a ball of burning gases in space. Rather, it is an enormous C4 Pro in the yellow colorway. But what astral being's high beams are powerful enough to cast so much light off the helmet and light up the Earth? Tune in next week to find out. Getting back on topic, Schuberth helmets are basically the BMW of helmets. They're precisely engineered to be as quiet as possible, but as a result, they don't have any vents, and those that do barely move any air. If you're somewhere warm, a Schuberth is basically a one-way ticket to heat stroke. Otherwise, they're fine, if a bit overpriced. Our next B-tier brand is Climb. They make dirt helmets for adventure riders who go to Starbucks and the long way around. Their main stain is the Cryos, and then they make one sport helmet in the TK1200, which I'm pretty sure is the Trooper Corps design of the Death Star Guard, who was meant to be guarding the Millennium Falcon. Other than that, it's MX helmets only. Climb really only wants to make adventure gear, and it shows, and that holds them back a bit as a brand. But if you need to have your helmet match your underwear, Climb is the only choice for you. Third in the B tier is Shark. They're like an expensive HJC, lots of lids and lots of different styles, which are generally $500 to $100 more than a comparable HJC without any of the extra features. Maybe why their rider in GP, Johan Zarco, is always so sad looking. Our last B tier entry is Nolan, a brand you've probably never heard of. They've got some weird helmets like the N44 that have a bunch of removable parts, all the way up to the N100, which is a solid sport bike lid. The main thing holding them back is that they are like Climb and they just don't have that much to choose from. If you don't like the style of the one helmet, you're kind of up a creek. They do have the X-Lite line, which weirdly enough you have to buy through a separate website, and that's the style of helmet that Alex Rins, that one Suzuki factory rider who isn't Joanne Mir, wears. You know it's good because if anyone's out there crash testing helmets other than Ruroc's riders, it's Alex Rins. Sorry buddy, at least you made it around Coda okay this time. First up in the A tier is my beloved Arai helmets. Shock, horror, Arai isn't top tier. Well, hold your horses, my petite cephalopod. Arai is one of the best brands out there. They're handcrafted, strictly tested, and made with only the best of the best materials, but all that excellence comes at a pretty hefty price tag. You'll be hard-pressed to find an Arai south of $500, and those that are probably used, which is a non-starter right there. Graphics on their lids are even more expensive, hovering around $1,000, but for what they're worth, Arais are literally the only helmet I will ride in, either on the road or on the track, and they're the choice of Taka Nakagami, the LC Honda rider in MotoGP. Joining Arai in the A tier is the other big-name Japanese helmet company, Shoei. Once again, this is not a statement on their quality. Marc Marquez wear ones, and you should probably too. The only problem with Shoei is that they have limited options, and those they do have tend to hover around $700 mark, even more if you want to get some crazy graphics. However, the RF1200 is a legendary helmet, probably one of the most popular sport bike helmets ever made, and its successor, the RF1400, looks to be keeping up the legacy. But there's no getting around a $630 price tag for some riders. Rounding out the A tier, we've got Scorpion, and they're here thanks to one helmet, the Scorpion XO R1 Air. It's the cheapest race-ready helmet you're going to find. Fabio Quartararo wears one in GP, and it's got a feature list as long as his list of podiums this season. They'd be in the S tier if they made other helmet styles with this level of tech. Our first S tier helmet brand is AGV. Why? Valentino Rossi wears one. There is explanation over. That's it. Okay, obviously I'm kidding, but guys, Rossi wouldn't wear just any old helmet, would he? Anyways, AGV is Dainesi's helmet brand, so you know there's a base level of quality there, but the reason they're in the top tier is because they have a lot of helmets from a lot of different price ranges for a bunch of different styles. If you're looking to go racing, they got the Pista GP. If you want to go off-road, it's the AX9. If you want a solid street helmet, the K5 or the K6 can't be beat. They've got Rossi colorways, Miller colorways, or just normal colors in carbon fiber if you want. No matter what you want from AGV, they've got you covered. Next up in the S tier is Icon, and I can't believe I'm saying it because they made some horrifically ugly helmets. They're affordable, proven safe, and they've got a style for everyone. Yours truly, in fact, used to ride in an Icon, and they're the choice of thousands of riders from beginners to the vets out there. One thing they don't really have is a true track day helmet, but for your first time, you'll be fine in something like the Airframe or Airform. Personally, I wouldn't be caught dead in one of those Icon graphic helmets, but if you want something garish, safe, and cheap, Icon's the brand for you. Our last S tier brand goes to HJC. They're a reputable brand with something for everyone. If you want fast boy helmets, they've got them. If you want dad helmets, they've got them. Something for beginners and pros alike. They've even got riders in GP like Brad Binder from KTM Racing in their helmets. A word of warning on the HJCs though, if you go with some of their bottom dollar helmets, you can find them with only DOT stickers, which isn't ideal, but those are the outliers. Fact, eggplants or berries. Goodbye.
Now, partner, I gotta tell you, it's real good seeing you here at the end of this here Yammie Noob video. It's me, Cowboy Yam, aka Yosemite Yam, back at it once again. And you click this video right over here. Do me a little solid, okay? You made it to the end of the video. Do me a little favor here. Click this video. Keep watching yourself some of this incredible Yammie Noob content. It's pretty good.